Have you guys heard about the channel called the Dad Challenge podcast? Basically, his entire channel is about calling out family vlog channels and trying to bring light to child exploitation. Well, just recently on a Reddit page I will not disclose for privacy reasons, people are calling him out for child exploitation. Not gonna lie, I found this guy to be a bit sketchy. Even though his whole channel is based around trying to call out family vlog channels and child exploitation and protecting kids, it seems like all he does is really bash these families and children. And in some clips, he's even talking very inappropriately about minors. His real name is actually Josh Barber, and I found this video on Reddit that needs to be shown to you guys because I think it's very important that you guys, if you're a fan of his channel or if you know who he is, to see this video. So let's watch this clip and we'll talk about it at the end.
There's no way you can be a parent. Impossible. I have 4 and I suck.
And they let me know that there's going to be another detective on the way because another call came in the same day from the same number that I abuse my children. And they have witnesses and cameras of me abusing my children.
Could you imagine being in this house, all these girls, and all their systems line up? Could you imagine? The smell of teenagers getting adopted by this family? Jackpot! Just don't do it on your face. Oh, it feels good. Go a little harder. And then the weird kid comes in. It's a big ass pantry. Again, you're feeding 20 kids. Plus, maybe they have friends. Probably don't. Imagine the farts that happen in this family. Just the farts. Okay, attention, and yes, her butt is wet. My ass is wet. The activities you could do in this tub. Sex. Mosquitoes bite your nuts. In the church that I just served at, I think about 3 or 4 months before I was fired, could have been a little bit longer than that, there was a youth leader in our church, an adult youth leader, male, okay? Nobody at that church to this day probably knows this, but he essayed a student, okay? Was asked to step down. We sat down at a leadership meeting, okay? Where the lead pastor, no, executive pastor, the guy who was supposed to sit, because then the lead pastor can have, plausible deniability, okay? Where he said, look, this went down in this leadership meeting, told all the staff that this had happened. And if anybody from the media comes and talks to you, you don't say a word. We were threatened. Don't you dare say a word. You ignore it, you send them to me. So that was one big thing happened, and people who go to my church who are watching this might not know that, but there was a kid, and that happened, and all he was asked to do was step away. That's it. I don't know, I'm sure the police got involved, I'm sure it all did really go down, but nobody knew. Nobody knows to this day what happened.
Ironic, isn't it? His whole channel is about protecting kids, child exploitation, yet when something like this went down at your own church, you didn't speak up about it? Crazy. I always found his channel to be a bit sketchy because a grown man making comments about children, girls, minors just didn't sit right with me, and I am glad this came to light because there are some weird people out there. Like, don't claim to be something online and you're the complete opposite from that, from what you're trying to project on your platform. Another weird thing is he used to be a pastor, and here he is now just talking poorly about strangers he doesn't know on YouTube. But yeah, what do y'all think about this? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below.